Well, I had started writing the script a while ago and had it about. I kind of had the idea, and I had the film about half written. And then it was actually when I was in Chile shooting Aftershock with Nicolas Lopez and Guillermo Amoedo. And I told him about the Green Inferno, and we said we should do that next. So while we were shooting Aftershock, Guillermo got to work on the draft, and then the three of us sat down and really tightened the script. And it was great to write with the two Chilean, Guillermo's from Uruguay, so it was great to write these characters, write the whole film with their point of view in there as well. And the whole thing was we wanted to create a new kind of horror movie, one that was in the tradition of those cannibal movies of the 70s. But, this whole kind of concept of Chile, the way we've been making movies, is writing Latin characters, but never making any big deal about the fact that they're Latin. They're just characters. So you have Ariel Levy, Ignacia Aleman, Nicolas Martinez, and they're all just Columbia students. There's no distinction, between whether they're Latin characters or just characters. It's never even addressed in the movie. But we use that to the advantage, where you're mixing Spanish and English, there's no subtitles, and we're following Justine, played by Lorenza, who gets caught up by this charismatic leader, Alejandro, and she follows him into the jungle until they kind of realize, oh my God, we've been following a crazy person. This guy has absolutely no plan and no idea what he's doing, and has got us involved in something very dangerous that can get us all killed. And she starts to realize that as they're going to the protest, when she realizes that he's been a pawn and set up by her almost to be killed, because all he really cares about is getting Twitter followers and getting on the homepage of Reddit and getting a bigger social presence. And I think that's a big problem. I think that a lot of people want to do the right thing, but in activism it's much easier for people to hit retweet or like something on Facebook. And you get the sense that a lot of people are doing it because they want to look like they care more than the actual cause itself that they're retweeting. That was amazing. Shooting Peru was great. That was real. It was a tough shoot, but we had the crew was Spanish, Chilean, and Peruvian. And, a couple of Americans, but it was mostly, it was just the makeup effects guys. And, everyone else I had worked with before on Aftershock, but it was a very tough shoot. And, Peru was shooting in the Amazon. We had to travel 5 hours every day. We'd get in the Land Rovers and go to the river in Chazutas, where this town where there were really like a lot of dirt roads and one bar with electricity, and then you get in the motorboats and you go an hour up the river, and that's an hour and a half up the river to this village, Kayanayaku, and it's the last village on the river before absolute jungle. So a lot of the people there just live in straw huts and sleep in hammocks, and there's no electricity, no running water. Although I think the electrical poles were being put in as we left, so they might actually have electricity now. But it was these people had never seen cell phones, cameras. There's 300 people in the village. A lot of the people had never left. The village doesn't own a boat. So, we're making a movie. The first day we realized, we dumped out the cooler with all the ice cubes in it at the end of the day, and the people were grabbing them. We realized it was the first time they'd seen ice before. So it was amazing to conceptually explain to them what a movie was and what television is. But what's interesting is the kids that are like 12 or 13 get picked up once a week to go to Chazutas, to go to the school there. There's like a middle school there. So they knew at World Cup, like they knew about who Justin Bieber was, they knew who Selena Gomez was, but the older people in the village are speaking Quechua, and they're completely disconnected. It's interesting, they want to be connected, and they really loved it. They loved the whole experience. We became a big family by the end of it. So even though they'd never seen a movie before, they all tell stories, and they understood that this was just storytelling. Well, I think that you're going to see this new... First of all, I think it's my most intense and scariest horror film. But our whole thing is bringing in new faces and new actors. Like Lorenza Izzo she's playing Justine, but we never say whether she's Latin, whether she's white. I mean, she stayed out of the sun to be like the kind of white college girl. We see her father is white, but we never address who her mother is. So, but she's amazing. I think that we're seeing a whole bunch of new Latin, most of the cast is Latin. I've seen people say, oh, it's a bunch of white kids, but that's not true. Mm-hmm. It's, Aaron Burns is mixed race. He made a great film called Blacktino about being black and Latino. Ignacia Aleman, Lorenza Izzo, Ariel Levy, Nicolas Martinez, Matias Lopez, like most of the cast With the exception of Daryl and Kirby, they're Latin. So I think people are going to see a lot of really terrific, awesome new faces in cinema, and if they come out and support the movie, then hopefully we can be bringing more of it to projects here in the U.S.